Your scalp is a war zone, and you've been arming the enemy. Every morning, you squeeze out that chemical cocktail from a plastic bottle, work it into a satisfying lather, and rinse away, thinking you're getting clean. But here's what that foam is actually doing. It's napalming the delicate ecosystem living on your head. It's stripping away protective oils, disrupting the pH balance your scalp needs to regulate itself, and it's creating the exact conditions that make dandruff, itching, and flaking worse. The shampoo industry is a $60 billion machine built on a simple lie that you need their products to have healthy hair. Meanwhile, the Hopi, Navajo, Apache, and Pueblo nations maintained thick, lustrous hair for thousands of years using a single plant that grows wild across the American Southwest. No sodium lauryl sulfate, no parabens, no synthetic fragrances, just a root they pounded against river rocks, mixed with water, and worked into a natural lather that cleans without destroying. They called it yucca. The Spanish called it soap plant. Modern science calls it one of the most scalp-friendly cleansers ever discovered, and you can make it in your kitchen for essentially nothing. Today, I'm going to show you why your dandruff keeps coming back, what's actually causing it, and how a forgotten Native American hair ritual can fix what decades of medicated shampoos never could. First, let's talk about what's actually happening on your head. Your scalp isn't just skin, it's a complex microbiome. Billions of microorganisms live there, including bacteria and fungi that, in proper balance, protect your hair follicles, regulate oil production, and prevent infection. One of these organisms is a yeast called Malassezia. It's on everyone's head. It's supposed to be there. The problem starts when Malassezia overgrows. This yeast feeds on sebum, the natural oil your scalp produces. When it digests that oil, it releases oleic acid as a byproduct. And here's where your genetics can betray you. About half of the population has scalps that react to oleic acid with inflammation. Your immune system sees it as an invader. Blood rushes to the area. Skin cells start dividing faster than normal, trying to shed the irritant. Those cells clump together with oil and dead skin, and suddenly you're brushing white flakes off your shoulders at a job interview. That's dandruff. Not dryness, not poor hygiene. It's a fungal overgrowth triggering an inflammatory cascade. Now here's where commercial shampoo becomes the villain of this story. Conventional shampoos rely on sulfates to create lather and strip oil. The main culprits are sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium lauryl sulfate. These are the same surfactants used in industrial degreasers and engine cleaners, just in different concentrations. They're devastatingly effective at removing sebum. Too effective. When you strip away all your scalp's natural oil, two things happen. First, your sebaceous glands panic and overproduce, trying to compensate for the drought you just created. Within hours, you're oilier than before you washed. And second, and this is critical, those sulfates don't discriminate. They wipe out beneficial bacteria alongside dirt and oil, decimating the microbiome that keeps Malassezia in check. It's like using a flamethrower to kill weeds in your garden. Sure, the weeds die, but so does everything else. And the weeds grow back faster because now nothing remains to compete with them. Studies show that commercial shampoos can shift your scalp's pH range from its healthy range of 4.5 to 5.5 into alkaline territory, somewhere above 7. At this higher pH, harmful bacteria and fungi flourish, while beneficial microbes struggle. You've just created the perfect environment for the yeast that causes your dandruff to explode in population. This is why your dandruff keeps coming back. You're treating the symptom by making the cause worse. You're caught in a dependency cycle designed to sell you more product. Enter the yucca plant. Yucca is a perennial shrub native to the hot, dry regions of North America. It thrives in deserts where water is scarce and conditions are brutal. Native American tribes across the Southwest, the Navajo, Hopi, Apache, and Pueblo, discovered something remarkable about its roots. When pounded and mixed with water, they produce a natural foaming lather. The source of that foam is a class of compounds called saponins. Saponins are nature's surfactants. The word comes from the Latin sapo, meaning soap. These molecules have a unique dual structure. One end attracts water, the other attracts oil. When you agitate them in water, they create stable bubbles. They lift away dirt and excess sebum. They clean. But here's the difference between saponins and synthetic sulfates. Saponins clean gently. They remove excess oil without stripping the scalp bare. They maintain the acidic pH your microbiome needs. They don't trigger the compensatory oil production that sulfates cause. Native Americans weren't using yucca just because it was convenient. They were using it because their hair was healthier. Anthropological records note that Wallapai mothers washed their newborns with yucca suds daily for the first week of life. That's how gentle this cleanser is. You don't put industrial degreaser on a newborn. You use something that works with skin, not against it. Modern research confirms what indigenous wisdom always knew. Saponins have documented antifungal properties. They help control exactly the kind of yeast overgrowth that causes dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis. They soothe inflammation rather than triggering it. And because they preserve the scalp's natural acid mantle, they support rather than destroy the beneficial bacteria, keeping harmful organisms in check. Some users report their dandruff clearing completely within weeks of switching to yucca. Others notice reduced oiliness, less itching, and hair that feels softer without conditioner. This isn't magic, it's chemistry that aligns with biology instead of fighting it. So here's how you can make yucca shampoo yourself. Start by obtaining yucca root. If you live in the Southwest, several species grow wild. Yucca baccata and Yucca glauca are commonly used. Just be sure to check local regulations before you go harvesting. If you're elsewhere, dried yucca root powder is available from herbal suppliers and health food stores. It's inexpensive, and one bag lasts for dozens of washes. If you have fresh root, dig up a small to medium plant, brush off the loose dirt, and chop the roots into manageable pieces. Then peel off the outer bark with a sharp knife to expose the pale, stringy interior. This is where the saponins concentrate. If you're using powder, just measure 2 tablespoons into a heat-resistant container. Now add water. For fresh root, use about 2 cups of warm, not boiling water. Heat degrades saponins, reducing their effectiveness. For powder, pour warm water over the dried material and let it steep like tea for about 15 to 20 minutes. The next step is extraction. If you're using fresh root, pound the pieces with a heavy object, a rock, a mallet, a meat tenderizer, while they're submerged in the water. You'll see foam forming. That's the saponins releasing. Keep pounding and swishing until you have a bowl of frothy, slightly golden liquid. For powder, simply stir it vigorously or use a blender for a few seconds. The goal is just agitation to release the saponins and create that lather. Next, strain the liquid through cheesecloth or a fine mesh strainer to remove any plant debris. You don't want bits of yucca stuck in your hair. What remains is your shampoo, a slightly foamy, mildly earthy-smelling liquid ready to use. Now for the wash. Wet your hair thoroughly. Pour or squeeze the yucca liquid directly onto your scalp. Massage it in, working from the roots to the ends. You'll notice the lather is much gentler than commercial shampoo, less explosive foam, more of a slippery, soapy feel. That's normal. That's what cleaning without stripping feels like. Leave it on for a minute or 2, then rinse thoroughly. Some users like to follow up with a diluted apple cider rinse, about 1 tablespoon per cup of water, to further maintain pH balance and remove any residue. This mimics the acidic environment your scalp prefers. One key thing though, use the shampoo immediately after making it. Fresh preparations work best. The plant compounds begin to degrade once extracted, so don't try to store it for weeks. Just make small batches as you need them. A few warnings before you begin. As with any new substance, do a skin test first. Apply a small amount of the liquid to your inner arm and wait 24 hours. Some people react to yucca with mild irritation, though it's uncommon. If you experience redness or itching, discontinue use. Also, don't confuse yucca with yucca. Yucca, spelled with 1 C, is cassava, a starchy root vegetable used in cooking. It's not the same plant, and it won't work as a shampoo. You want yucca, the ornamental desert shrub with the sword-like leaves.
Finally, expect a transition period. If you've been using conventional shampoos for years, your scalp has adapted to being chemically stripped daily. It's overproducing oil to compensate. When you switch to yucca, it takes time, usually 2 to 4 weeks, for your sebaceous glands to recalibrate. Your hair might feel different during this period. Some people experience temporary oiliness or waxy texture as your scalp adjusts. Push through it. Your microbiome is rebuilding. Your oil production is normalizing. The result, once balance is restored, is hair that's healthier than it has been in years. Now here's the survival angle you need to understand. Commercial shampoo requires complex chemical manufacturing, global supply chains, plastic packaging, and petroleum derivatives. When those systems fail, and systems always eventually fail, what happens to your hygiene? You can't synthesize sodium lauryl sulfate in your garage. You can't manufacture dimethone from backyard materials. But yucca grows wild across millions of acres of North American landscape.